Another update we have for this NAB is new software for all ATEM switches that lets you control our HyperDeck Studio SSD recorders. This is a very important update because this software lets a HyperDeck become totally integrated into the switcher workflow. It's very easy to use because HyperDeck really works the same as a media player, and playback can be triggered when you transition to the deck. You can control up to 4 separate HyperDecks and trigger playback automatically, as well as see file lists and select which clips you want to play. All the HyperDeck control is done via the Ethernet connection between the switcher and the HyperDecks, so it's very easy to set up. If we go to the ATEM software, you can see these new features. To connect to deck, just select Settings. You can see here that we now have a HyperDeck tab, so you just select it. And now you can see the settings for each HyperDeck. The HyperDeck needs to be connected to the switcher's network, and so you also need to set each HyperDeck with an IP address. By default, the switcher is set to a fixed IP address of 192.168.10.240, and a hardware panel is set to 192.168.10.10, so we will use 192.168.10.100 for the deck. Now you want to give your HyperDeck a label, so you can see it on the control panels. You need to set a long and a short name. We'll just call it VTR1. Next, connect the SDI from the HyperDeck to one of the inputs on the ATEM switcher. You can also set that input on the multi-view. Now you can check that the HyperDeck is ready to use by clicking the Connect button. You should see it talking to the switcher. Now you're ready to start using your HyperDecks as unlimited duration media players. Let's select the switcher tab and you can see the media players, and just below them the HyperDeck palettes. The first thing you might notice is that the media players and other switcher parameter palettes are now in separate sections, so they're easier to use. You need to make sure that the HyperDecks are set to remote, or they will say local here in the palette, and you won't be able to control them. When the HyperDeck is set to remote and communicating, you'll see the palette show ready and you can get full control of the deck. You might see that each button has a coloured highlight, and this changes colour to red if the deck is on air, green if it's on preview, and orange is the selected deck. You just click the button for the HyperDeck you want to control, so let's select Deck 1. In the palette display, you can see the current clip name, the clip length, the current clip time, and the remaining time the clip has to play. Just under this are the transport controls for record, previous clip, play, and next clip. There's also jog and shuttle controls. When recording, the controls will change to a large timecode display, and you can click on it to display the record duration. There's also a time remaining for the current disc. If you select the Clips List button, you can see there's a list of clips in playback order on the HyperDeck. You can simply click a clip and go direct to that clip. There's also full transport controls on the hardware panel. That means you can control the decks from the software panel or the hardware panel. You can use the transport control buttons on the 2ME panel if you press Shift while selecting a HyperDeck number in the system control menus. Pressing play will play that single clip. You can also loop play the clip by pressing play twice, and Shift play will play all the clips on the disc. If you've selected auto roll when you set up the HyperDeck, then whenever it receives a tally to go on air, it will play automatically. This means you can trigger a credit roll or even short clips just by transitioning to them on the switcher. It really becomes an automated spot player. Of course, all these controls can be programmed into macros, so you can fully automate your entire workflow, including using macros to program various playback speeds for instant replays. This new software update for ATEM switches is available now as a free update, and there's a lot more features in it than what I've described here. You can download it now from our website.